Thank you, Cindy. Good morning, everyone. It is delightful to see you all. This month, our theme is Ready to Grow. And we've been discussing the power of strength. It takes strength to grow in our lives, doesn't it? It takes strength to grow in every area of our lives. In the emotional area, it takes strength to let go of learned behaviors like anger and worry and fear. And it takes strength to take hold of our true nature, which is empathy and unconditional love. It takes strength to love, doesn't it? It takes strength to love ourselves. And it takes strength to love God with all our heart and our soul and our mind. It takes strength and courage to love others unconditionally. That takes strength. In the mental aspect of our lives, it takes strength to clear out the mental clutter in our minds, to let go of the mental arguing so that we can bring our thoughts and our beliefs into alignment with our desired goals. It takes strength to discern the highest and best, to maintain mental clarity and focus in our everyday lives. It takes strength. And spiritually, it takes strength. It takes strength to see with spiritual eyes, doesn't it? It takes strength not to get caught up in the woes and the worries of the world and to see the big picture. It takes strength. It takes strength to keep our hearts and our minds focused on the manifestation of this inner heavenly realm as we seek to bring it into expression in our lives and in the world. It takes strength. Charles Fillmore, one of the founders of the Unity movement, defined strength as the energy of God. That just sums it up right there for me. Strength is the energy of God. He says freedom from weakness, yes. Stability of character, yes. Power to withstand temptation, capacity to accomplish. He says strength is physical, mental, and spiritual. He said all strength originates in spirit. So this morning I want to talk to you about this holistic kind of strength. We could call it the energy of God, like the energy pulsating through our bodies on invisible currents, through our nerve centers and down to our smallest cells. But as Charles Fillmore said, all strength originates in spirit. So it's not an ego-based or a personality-based strength. All strength originates in spirit. He also said that if we really believe the truth, and if we daily affirm God is the strength of my life, that's our affirmation for this month. You want to say it with me? God is the strength of my life. When we really believe that truth and we affirm that truth and we allow it to take root and grow in our lives, he says, you are bound to get strong. You're bound to get strong. Not just mentally strong, not just emotionally strong, but physically strong. There's a quote by Charles Fillmore I want to share with you that speaks to this. He said, "It is not necessary for you to take physical exercise to gain strength. Exercise your mind, the great strength field, and it will be translated into your character muscles. Then the exercise will come in doing with strength and vigor that which you love to do." So first of all, exercise your mind, that great strength field, and then you will have strength and vigor in your body. Charles Fillmore must have gotten something right, because he was still lecturing and teaching and speaking all across the country up until his death in 1948 at age 93. He must have gotten something right. But not surprisingly, Charles Fillmore being ahead of his time. That was taken from a lecture in 1913. 1913, it was entitled The First Consciousness of Strength. Interestingly, there was a study that was done in 2014 that was published in the Journal of Neuroscience, in which researchers at Ohio University found that simply imagining exercise can tone your muscles, delay atrophy, and even make your muscles stronger. Imagining exercise. Mental imagery. Visualization. Thinking and feeling and believing that you are strong. Now, in this study, the way it worked out, the participants, they took one of their wrists and they put it in a cast, so they immobilized that muscle. And then they divided them into two groups. The one group was told to sit still and to imagine exercising that muscle. 11 minutes, 5 days a week, for 4 weeks. The other group wasn't given any such instruction. At the end of the 4 weeks, those that did the mental exercising, their muscles were twice as strong as those who didn't. And not only did they create strong muscles and bones, their brains were stronger because they had created stronger neuromuscular pathways. But this wasn't just casual daydreaming about going to the gym. I see myself putting on my cute little yoga outfit, getting in the car, driving down the World Gym. Everybody's waving. Haven't seen you in a long time, Lorna. I get on the treadmill, work up a sweat, then I take a shower, fix my hair, stop at Starbucks on the way home. Not that I've ever done that. It's not about casual daydreaming. No, they were devoting all of their mental energy toward a certain goal, toward exercising that muscle. 11 minutes, 5 days a week, for 4 weeks. So the question is, what are you devoting your mental energy toward? You know, some people devote their mental energy toward less than strengthening thoughts. I'll say it like that. Thoughts like fear, or worry, or anger. That just wears you out, doesn't it? Less than strengthening thoughts. For some people, their minds are like a runaway train. Woe is me, 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 boo-hoo! Nobody wants to ride that train. How about instead you harness that energy? How about instead you get back on track and keep your eye on the desired destination and enjoy the ride all the way? Well, how do we do that? How do we devote our mental energy toward creating strength in body, mind, and spirit? How do we use our minds as a storehouse for all that's good, all the best, and the most beautiful, and the most expansive? Thoughts that strengthen us, thoughts of vitality and prosperity and abundance and power and clarity, thoughts that support and sustain our health, optimal health in body, mind, and spirit. How do we do that? Well, first of all, it means realization. Realizing the truth. And realizing the truth has two parts to it. Knowing the truth, knowing that it is possible to create strength in body, mind, and spirit. And believing the truth. Knowing the truth. Charles Fillmore talked about it. And he obviously walked the talk, so we know that it is possible to be strong in body, mind, and spirit. Modern science, there are many studies like the one I just shared with you that affirm that it is possible to be strong in body, mind, and spirit. But Do you believe it's possible for you to be strong in body, mind, and spirit? Knowing the truth. You know, some of us might be operating on outdated information about ourselves. There's been many changes in the past few years. Like for many years, science thought, and many people believed, that as we age, that our cells, some of our cells die out. We found that that's not true. In fact, not only do we hold on to our neurons, we grow new ones. So it's not that we lose our brain cells, I meant to say. We hold on to them and grow new ones. Throughout your entire life, your brain cells are constantly reshaping themselves and regenerating themselves according to what they learn. Another thing that many years people believe that when you got to a certain age, I'm not sure what age that is, but that you couldn't think as clearly, or that you couldn't learn new things. Maybe you've heard the old adage, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I don't know if that's true for dogs, but it's not true for humans. Not at all. Far from it. Many, many studies are proving differently. There was one study that was published in the Journal of Neuroscience that the participants were 60 years old and older, and they were taught how to juggle. After they learned how to juggle, their brain scans showed a significant increase in the portion of the brain that's responsible for processing visual information, complex visual information. Another study out of Switzerland, the participants were 65 years old and older, and they were taught to play musical instruments. After they'd been playing the musical instruments for only 5 months, their brain scans showed significant increase in the areas of the brain that are responsible for hearing, for memory, and for motor skills, especially hand movements. What does all this say to you? I think it says that we should have a juggling workshop. Don't you? Oh, I can see that now. But here's a big question to ask yourself. Actually, here's a bigger question to ask yourself, really. Do you believe people can change? Do you really believe that? But more importantly, do you believe that you can change? We talk a lot about changing our minds, changing our lives. Do you believe that you can change? The New Testament tells us, be transformed. How? By the renewing of your mind. It says, renew your mind and you will be transformed. Now, this transformation isn't something that happens in the afterlife when you die. No, it's talking about transformation right here, right now. It says, renew what's within so that what's without can be transformed. It's talking about regenerating our bodies in such a way that every cell of our body is vibrating with pure intelligence, that is vibrating with the truth and the power and the vitality, the strength that originates in spirit. That's not a miracle. It's the result of devoting our mental energy towards the goal of strengthening our spiritual bodies, so then that outpictures in our physical bodies. You know, your body is regenerating itself constantly. Did you know that every year 98% of the atoms in your body are replaced with new atoms every year? Our bone cells are constantly regenerating themselves. Every year you have a brand new skeleton. Every 2 years you have a brand new skeleton. Your liver, brand new every 6 weeks. The skin in your body, on your body, totally brand new every month. The lining in your stomach, totally brand new every 4 days. Constantly, the cells in your body are being pushed out and new ones are taking its place. And we have the opportunity, not just the opportunity, but the awareness and the knowledge to transform these cells from a higher place, a more spiritual vibration. We have the opportunity to devote our mental energy to regenerating those cells so that they are vibrating at a higher place, a place of pure truth, pure power, pure strength from Spirit. Myrtle Fillmore, who was afflicted with tuberculosis at a very early age and spent many years of her life believing that she was incurably weak and sickly, said that when she began to learn and to live and to teach the laws of truth, that she found her body temple totally transformed by the renewing of her mind. And of course we know that Myrtle Fillmore lived a fulfilling life, founding the Unity movement and Silent Unity, and a life of freedom and wisdom up to age 86. So when we're talking about creating strength in body, mind, and spirit, it begins by realizing the truth, knowing and believing that it is possible for you to be strong in body, mind, and spirit. Not only that it's possible, that it's necessary in order to live a transformed life. Realizing the truth, and then devoting our mental energy toward that goal, toward the purpose of strengthening our spiritual bodies so that it outpictures in our physical body, lifting our words and our thoughts into the high consciousness of Spirit. My talk, as Cindy said, is entitled, Of Course. Strength is the ability to persevere, the ability to endure, the ability to stay the course. That word course actually originally meant an onward movement along a particular path. We get that word course from the Latin word currere. It's the same word that gives us the word current, as in ocean current. So this morning we've been talking about a current. We've been talking about the energy of God that flows through each one of us, from our nerve centers on down to our smallest cells. We've been talking about this onward movement along a particular path. And I want to encourage you this morning to know and believe that you can harness the power of your mind, to put a stop to that runaway train and to get back on track, and to keep your eye on that desired destination and enjoy the ride all along the way. In closing, I want to leave you with a quote by one of my favorite authors, the scholar and theologian and civil rights activist Howard Thurman. He said, "So in the quietness of this place, surrounded by the all-pervading presence of God, my heart whispers, keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve, that in fair weather or foul, in good times or in tempest, in the days when the darkness and the foe are nameless and familiar, I may not forget that to which my life is committed. Keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve." May you be steadfast. May you be strong in body, mind, and spirit. May you be steady in your words and your thought. And may you keep fresh before you the moments of your high resolve. And so it is. So we're going to go into this quiet place, surrounded by the all-pervading presence, just to consider what we've talked about this morning. Charles Fillmore, in that same lecture in 1913, said, "The true way to develop your strength is in that quiet, harmonious, masterly, spiritual way." So let's just take a moment just to contemplate these things. He said, you have the strength, and you can bring it more and more into expression through the power of your word. He said, if you want strength, should you think of weakness? Should you talk of weakness? Or for a moment let the idea of the possibility of weakness into your consciousness? You would say, no, of course not. Well then, be on your guard. Don't, if you feel exhausted, don't admit for a moment in your mind that you can be weak, because if you let your mind think weakness, it will reflect on your body, and your body will get weak. Then make your affirmation. God is the strength of my life. Just take a moment to breathe that in. God is the strength of my life. I am not weak. I am not tired. No weakness in my world. And take a deep breath. And affirm, I am always filled with an increasing strength and power. I rejoice in strength. I feel the strength of spirit. One more breath, and silently affirm, God is the strength of my life, and I am powerful in every part. Body, mind, and spirit. And when you're ready, you can take a deep breath and open your eyes and begin to come back to the room. Here come the lights. Everyone back? Feeling strong? Body, mind, and